What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another stream. I hope you are all well. Game week 15 is here. Deadline stream. We'll be answering all of your questions, all of your captaincy thoughts, transfers, everything like that. Any questions you guys have got, fire them away in the chat. And of course, we will get to them ahead of the Game week 15 deadline. Nice to see some of you in here already. We started slightly earlier this week. I know I've been a bit behind on live stream, so I thought I was given the opportunity to come live slightly earlier, so I thought I would take it. So this is my team. For anyone who doesn't follow me over on Twitter, you will not have seen that I have made one transfer this week, which will be Antonio out and Watkins in. Now, there's been a few question marks about people thinking whether this is a good move or a bad move. So I'm pretty happy with it. Watkins, Leicester at home. Antonio has a difficult fixture this week, and then he has a couple more difficult fixtures before it becomes good. If I decide that I've made a wrong decision on Antonio, then Wilson can go for him. I can get Bowen in my midfield very easily. I've got money in the bank. So Abdulwahab, thank you very much for subscribing. But that's the transfer that I've made. Let me know what you think of it in the comment section. But yeah, Antonio out, Watkins in was my transfer this week. So let's say hello to a few of you guys. Say hello in the chat and I will go through and do the usual bits right now. And then we will get into all of your question answering in just a moment. So James, Melwo, Abdullah, Alexander, Aru, John, James, Chris, Rohan, John, Nico, Paul, Pro Games, Notfet, Sai, Nico, Richard, SH, Johnson, Abdullah, Ryan, SBC, how are we doing? Hibbs, Green Arrow every week. That's the type of positivity we like for a deadline stream. Sherwin, Carol, how are we all doing? So, a few questions. Good morning, Mark. How are we? You're captaining Son. Liverpool Wolves going to be a boring 1 or 2-0. This is possible, but I still don't back Spurs to score that many, and I don't back Son to then necessarily be involved. Whereas I know that if Liverpool score twice, I'm pretty sure Salah's going to get something. So I think his goal involvement is so high that I'm pretty confident that he gets something, even if they only score once or twice. Silva in for Rafinha. I'm not sure I'd be selling Rafinha this week. There's a chance that Bamford starts, and I think they'll perform pretty well with Bamford. If I had Rafinha at home to Brentford this week, I would not be selling him. I'd be selling him next week for sure, but for now, I would not be selling him. He'd be staying in my team for this week. I think Alonso's going to play. Probably, yeah. It's quite a big game for us. I'll wait and see if we get any early team news on Chelsea or West Ham this morning. But yes, I would say that I think that Antonio will start. Alonso will start. Chance of Salah being rested? Potentially, but I don't see it. I still think he'll start. Up the Villa and Watkins. Let's hope so. I need a goal this week. If Antonio scores this morning as a Chelsea fan against me, having held on to him for so long and finally sold him, I'll be absolutely fuming. So yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. Good morning. It's Garabed. How are we doing? You have 2 free chances, but I really don't need anyone. I wasted my transfer last week as well. I had 2 last week, 2 again this week. I'm sure you can find somewhere to use it. Like even if it's a 4.5 forward, or you're changing one of your 4.5 defenders, or changing your backup goalkeeper or something. I would just use it, even if it's on something completely ridiculous, like changing a 3.9 goalkeeper for another 3.9. Just find something to do with it, even if you absolutely are sure that you don't need anything. There's nothing else you want to do. Is Gundogan starting? So I don't know. He seems to be fit and ready and available for selection. So he's in my team, and I hope that he starts. There's a few quotes that came out last night, which it doesn't necessarily sound like Foden is completely ready. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with him. But yeah, I think Gundogan will start. I think it's close. Like he might. It depends how bad his back injury's been, but yeah, I think he'll start this week. Thoughts on doing Vardy to Ronaldo this week, as I think Vardy is likely to be benched. My issue is I'm not necessarily sure Ronaldo is fit either, because he came off with an injury and went straight down the tunnel against Arsenal. I don't think I'd be confident enough that Ronaldo does start and Vardy doesn't to make that move. I would probably not do that this week. Again, thoughts on Ronaldo captain. Again, I'm not confident enough that he starts and gets good minutes this week to go and make that move, especially when Salah is just doing so well. When we have such a good captaincy option every single week, I just don't think there's a need to go and move my captaincy armband off him. Morning, Keith. Morning, James. How are we doing? Best mid for 6.9 and under. I still like Gallagher. Cornet is not a bad option. Smith Rowe, they have a nice run of fixtures starting soon. Arsenal. Smith Rowe for those ones is pretty nice. I know he was quite unfortunate. Quite fortunate in the midweek game to actually get anything, but I still. Why has it gone all weird again? Oh, now it's not going to fit on the page again. Why does it do this? Anyway. Should you start Alonso or Gallagher? If you own... I'd probably start Alonso out of the two. If he doesn't play, I don't think he comes on as a sub either, so I'd probably play Alonso. Start Dennis or Antonio? I'd probably go Antonio out of the two. I'd probably go for Antonio out of the two of them. You're from Sri Lanka and a big fan of our channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Will Jesus start? I mean, probably, but trying to predict a Manchester City team sheet when they're all fit, then, yeah, it's tough. Paul, your daughter Lily wants to say hi. Good. Sorry, at that exact... Sorry, Paul. Good morning, Lily. I had to sneeze at the exact time that you thought that I decided to read your comment. Good morning. Start next week. How does this transfer look? I'm going to sneeze again. Thank you. Sorry. Oh. Next week, how's this transfer sound? 2 free transfers and Kane to Ronaldo and Tony and Kane to Ronaldo and King. Ronaldo. I'm not done. I like those moves. Sorry, everyone. Give me a minute. Start Livramento or Dennis? I'd probably start Livramento. I am definitely considering Ronaldo from next week. So I wouldn't want to bring him in this week because I'm not sure enough that he starts, but I would be considering him in from next week. So I can do Son and Wilson out and get Smith Rowe and Ronaldo in, for example. Both of those are very doable for me. So absolutely, I'm considering him. I just want to make sure that he's fit. I want to see the system in Manchester United this weekend. Because if someone like Rashford or Sancho looks great, because I'm not going to be captaining Ronaldo very much, I'll just captain Salah every week still, then if Sancho or Rashford look great this weekend, then I might just go for them in my midfield. Like Son to them is so straightforward. So Robertson or Van Dijk. Robertson looked so good the past couple of games. And he hasn't looked that good all season. I'd probably go Robertson if I had to go one of them. I still wouldn't be doubling up on their defence out of, Trent, James, Cancelo are all still better options than him. So maybe if you want to go as an additional, but I don't love doubling up on Liverpool defence. Bench Mbuemo or Gallagher. I would bench out of the two, probably Mbuemo. But they have Leeds. But he's been so poor. Jota, Walker and Dennis for Trossard, Cody and Antonio. I do quite like those moves. Do we know? Yeah, Walker we do know is fit. We've seen him in training. So yeah, I do quite like this. If it's a -4, then fine, Rohan. I probably wouldn't do it for a -8. Madison or Bernardo Silva. I still think Bernardo Silva is the better option out of the two. I really like him. I kind of wish I'd gone for him. Let's see what Gundogan can do this weekend. All us Gundogan owners hoping that he can come back and do something. I do think he will start Lynn, but maybe I'm just being optimistic, but I do think he'll start. So let's wait and see what happens, but I'm hopeful for him. Is a City mid a must-have? Their fixtures are so nice. I don't necessarily think they're a must-have, but Bernardo Silva particularly looks so good. Their fixtures over Christmas are so nice as well. Of course, there's going to be rotation when they have a fixture run like this, but they're a nice option. I don't necessarily think they're essential, but they're one of the best options at their price. Watkins or Antonio to buy from Game Week 17? I'd probably say Watkins because I've now bought him. However, I will say that I will likely have both a West Ham player and an Aston Villa player. The reason that I've done this transfer is that Watkins was going up in price, Antonio was going down in price. Antonio didn't actually fall in price, but Watkins is the only Aston Villa attacker that I would like. None of their midfielders work in terms of FPL very well. Whereas West Ham, you look at it, you could have Bowen, you could have Fornals, you could have Benrahma, you could have Antonio. There are lots of options in that West Ham team, whereas there's only really one option in Villa. So if I had to pick one, I'd go Watkins, but I do think a West Ham option for their run is also very nice. Jack, Alonso and Gallagher or Dyer and Bernardo Silva? If I had to play them every single week, I'd go Alonso and Gallagher. Is Lamptey even a good option? You didn't watch his game. Why did he play only 20 minutes? So he came on at the end, Lamptey, so he got given a rest. This was the thing. He plays a lot of minutes, having just come back from injury. Midweek weekend is difficult for him. So there is always going to be that slight worry when you own Lamptey, but I still think, he came on, he got an assist. He's looked so good when he's played. I think he'll start this weekend. So, yeah. Morning, Nuclear. Good morning, Charlie. One Rover Vlogs. How are we all doing? Start 2 out of 4 with Antonio Jimenez, Mbuemo and Livramento. So, Mbuemo's definitely not playing. I'd probably go Jimenez and Livramento. It's close, though. As a Chelsea fan, maybe I'm being biased. Play Livramento or buy James. If you're buying James for free, then I'd buy him. Because James is just still such a good own. Good morning. Nice to see more and more of you joining. Should I start Alonso or Gallagher? I'd start Alonso over Gallagher, probably. Why am I starting Foster? Sorry, it's just something I do. I know it annoys a lot of people, but I'll get Ramsdale auto sub off my bench because Foster's out until January. Do I roll the transfer to get Ronaldo and a 6.8 mid for Son and Wilson, or do a transfer now? Do I roll the transfer to get Ronaldo and a 6.8 mid for Son and Wilson, or do a transfer now? Cornet. I'd want Son and Wilson this week. That's what I'm doing. Taking 2 transfers into the next week. So I've only used one of my 2 this week. So next week I'll have 2 again, and then I will. And then I'll probably use both of them to sell Wilson and Son next week, or I will use one transfer again. Depends what I think of Manchester United today. Which keeper you are using this game week? It will be Ramsdale. Foster's injured until January, so even if I started Foster, Ramsdale would come off my bench. Gallagher to Cornet for next 3. It feels like a bit of a luxury transfer. I still think Gallagher has a chance of getting something. They've not been as good with him playing in his new role, so I wonder if they go back slightly to where he was playing before, which is maybe me being sort of a bit optimistic, but I do still think that he's worth having, and I wouldn't necessarily be moving sideways. I'm thinking of captaining Cancelo, tired of captaining Salah. I mean, fine, but My counter to that would be you're tired of captaining like a guy who is 50 points ahead of anyone else in the game, has had a double-digit return in 50% of matches this season, has returned in every single game this season apart from game week 2. If you're bored of having returns, then fine. You really don't know who to replace Hwang with. So this week it's difficult because the Watford guys have Manchester City Luke, but next week Josh King or Dennis are definitely the two that I would be looking at. You don't even need money in the bank at all, so Daniel's going into Chelsea West Ham with more Chelsea than me, and he's a West Ham fan, I think. Chat, who should I get for White replacement? I wouldn't necessarily be selling White. I don't necessarily know why White is such a sell. I'm not sure on White versus Livramento as my first sub, but I'm pretty happy with White still in my team. Thank you, Luke. Just a reminder, everyone, that my charity month has begun. So all money that I raise on YouTube will go to a charity called Action for Children in December. So whether you want to donate as a super chat, whether you want to join as a member, maybe if you just want to watch my videos and watch the adverts, all of that goes to charity. So anyway, super chats, memberships, the whole lot goes to charity. So if you do fancy joining and supporting a charity called Action for Children, then please do find a way to support over December, over Christmas, to do something, do your good deed for the day. Should you bench Alonso or James for White? I probably would bench White out of those ones. I still think there might be a slight reaction from Everton, but Antonio or Livramento? I'd probably favour starting Livramento this week, but start Antonio or Dennis. I'll probably start Antonio out of the two, but these are all very 50-50 calls. It's quite difficult to make a decision between all of them. Livramento or Benteke to start. I'd probably go Benteke. Gallagher to Cornet. No, James, I wouldn't do that. Why are people buying Dennis and King when they play City? This is true, but they got returns against Chelsea, didn't they? So there's still a chance that they get them. City haven't been as good defensively as they maybe were in previous weeks, but yeah. I mean, a lot of people are looking to make a transfer this week, and then they're thinking, okay, I'll either bench them or, play them for 1 week, and then they have a great run of fixtures. So Gallagher to Bernardo Silva. Yes, if I had money in the bank to do Gallagher to Bernardo Silva, I would do that, yeah. Is Son option for captain? Salah is insane. I just would be on Salah. Like, I know Son scored last week, but it was a tap in. Like, I just still think Salah is the best captain option every week. And there's not anything that's going to convince me otherwise until Salah goes on a run of blanking. And I just don't think that's going to happen. I can't advise anyone to captain against Salah, because if I advise someone to do that and it goes wrong, then fine. But if I advise someone to captain Son and he blanks and Salah scores twice, then I would just be captaining Salah, and that's what I'm doing. So Gallagher or Dennis or White to start. I'd probably start Gallagher out of the three. Ramsdale or Sanchez this week. Ramsdale or Sanchez. Ooh, that's a close one. I'd probably go Ramsdale out of the two. Just slightly more saves he tends to make. Ramsdale or Sanchez this week. Yeah, fine. White or Livramento. I mean, I've got White ahead on my bench first, but maybe if you start Ramsdale, you want to start Livramento with him. Maybe you just go not starting one of each. You start, not starting two from the same team. Why start Gallagher ahead of Livramento? I don't know, I just quite fancy Palace. Palace have looked pretty good recently. He's blanked in the last two, but Brighton have looked really good. I still think there's a chance Brighton score. So with AFCON starting soon, will I be taking all Liverpool assets out or just Salah? Probably just Salah. He's only likely to miss 2 weeks anyway. So Salah to someone else for 2 weeks. But the issue is we now have so much money built up in him. Like, he's 13 million. If I sell him and buy him back, I lose money. So it's just got to hope that he falls enough in those 2 weeks. which West Ham asset is better to get, Bowen or Antonio? It depends with your team structure. They're both really good options, Nuclear. It's just what you can do with the rest of your team. Do you want him to take up a forward spot? Do you want him to take up a midfield spot? That's probably what I would let decide it for you. So start Ramsdale or McCarthy. I'd start Ramsdale. McCarthy has not been that great. I'd probably go Ramsdale out of the two. Benteke or Duffy. So again, Benteke, I'd probably favour the attacker in out of the two. Start to Antonio, Mbeumo, Gallagher and Livramento. I'd probably go Gallagher and Livramento. Bernardo or Grealish or Foden. I'd probably go Bernardo. If I had to buy one of them this week, I'd go and buy Bernardo. Bernardo Silva would be my transfer in. Which one would you start? Antonio, Mbeumo or Livramento? Not Mbeumo. I don't back Brentford anymore. So Antonio or Livramento. Maybe I should do a benching ranking on my key questions, but more important things to put there during December. I think I'll probably back Gallagher first, Livramento second, Antonio third, and Mbeumo at the bottom. Hi Harry, you're on a wildcard next week. Reggie or Jesus as a 1 week punt this week? I'd probably go Reguilon. Will Ronaldo play or be benched? Interesting one. I'm not sure. I worry that, well, I don't worry, but I think he might not start. For those of you who own, I worry for you. So, except for this week, when's the next best time to bring in Reguilon? I think if you don't buy him this week, you don't buy him for a few weeks. I probably wouldn't then buy him until game week 19. I probably would leave him for the next 3. I don't think it's an essential transfer. If you don't do it this week, I think I'd wait. You've got more important things to use your transfers on, I imagine, than Reguilon for those 3 fixtures. Transfer in Foden or Gundogan or Silva. I still think Bernardo Silva is the one I'd buy now. There's going to be 7 game weeks in the Prem in the next 27 days. Fantastic. So we got weekend, and then we've got another weekend, midweek, weekend, and then we've got Christmas. Then we've got Boxing Day, midweek, weekend. Fantastic. Will Vardy start? I probably would. If you've got him, I start him for sure. Who should I bench between Gallagher and Dennis? I'd still be going Gallagher out of the 2. I know Dennis has looked good and he scored against Chelsea, then fine, but I would just probably go Gallagher out of the 2. You're right, Penguin. How are we doing? Nice to see you. Is it good to have Alonso and Rudiger for the match? Not a bad problem. I don't know who's on your bench that you could start over one of them, but I still think having both is fine. Chelsea have not looked quite as good defensively in the past few weeks, but I'm still pretty happy with James in my team, so... Sell Foden? No. I probably would keep him. If you've kept him past the past 2 games, I think you'd keep him. Thoughts on Harry Kane? You give him 1 more week and then you sell him. I wouldn't be holding him past this Norwich game. Norwich you have to give him. Especially with Ronaldo limping off. You give Kane this week and then you move to Ronaldo. I think is the simplest move you'll make for a long time. Would I start Antonio or Mbeumo? Probably Antonio. And Mbeumo or Gallagher? Gallagher. Can West Ham players become a problem because they're congested fixtures? I don't think so, because they'll still be playing against other people who have got that, whereas with Europa they're now playing teams who have like a full week's rest. So I wouldn't worry about West Ham players if you've got them because of that. Why shouldn't we captain a Spurs player this game? We waited for this fixture. Wolves have a strong defence at home. You can go for it, but I haven't seen enough from Spurs, and I haven't seen enough consistent attacking from either Son or Kane to want to captain them. Salah is playing in the form of his life in the team that is scoring the most goals. Yes, he's playing against a more difficult defence, but they've looked so good, Liverpool. So I just don't see backing against Salah as a good idea when I haven't seen nearly enough from Spurs, and Norwich in the past couple of weeks have not been nearly as bad as they were at the start of the season. Who to bench, Livramento or King? Probably King. Target or Watkins for that one Aston Villa spot. Their defence has looked good. I still, again, it depends on your structure. I think I'd probably want Watkins out of the two of them, but start one, Bowen, Gallagher, Dennis or Duffy. I'd probably start Gallagher out of those. Good morning, Stian. How are we doing? Nice to see you in. Hope you have a lovely weekend as well. One free transfer has been made and Antonio has finally left my team. What matches do we have on today? Oh, Watford, Man City is the late kickoff. Interesting. What else have we got? I didn't realise. I thought that was earlier in the day. Sunday, we've got Leeds United a Sunday. It doesn't look like any of them are on TV in the UK. Villa, Leicester, and then Everton on Monday night. Start two of Lamptey, Livramento, Huang, and Antonio. I need to put a ranking up, I think, of who I would start out of all these players, just so that it's there. We've got Tony up. I would definitely start Tony Aru. He comes above all of those potential bench options, so... Thoughts on Bernardo Silva? I still think he's a really nice option. There's obviously a chance that he gets the occasional rest, but I think he's a great option at his price. Would absolutely be going and buying him if I didn't have Gundogan and I was looking for a Man City player. I think Bernardo Silva would be the one that I would be going and buying. Alonso or Bernardo Silva? Who do I think? I would start Bernardo Silva out of those two. Actually, yeah, that's pretty straightforward, I think. Livramento or Antonio? Again, I'm gonna change this and I'm just gonna plug it instead. Who else was in it? Who do people keep asking? Oh, Gallagher as well. Anyone else? Well, I can add more, but let's leave it at that for now. Lamptey, if you've got Lamptey, definitely start him. You're thinking Ronaldo transfer anytime soon? Yeah, I'm thinking of it next week. I just don't think he's confident enough that he's going to start, and I don't have a way to get him in with one free transfer. It would have to be a hit this week. And given I'm not sure that he starts, then I'm not taking a hit to get him in. Next week, 2 free transfers. I can easily get him in, especially with wanting to move Son on next week. So, yeah. Should we be considering David De Gea? Now, that is a very interesting question. I actually think that David De Gea could be a nice option. If I was buying a goalkeeper now, Aaron, I probably would go Ramsdale, but I do think De Gea comes very close behind. I still think Ramsdale comes out first because the amount of saves he makes and he's better for bonus points. But if you don't want to go Ramsdale and you are looking for someone else as a differential, I think David De Gea is exactly where I would go. Yeah, that would be my thinking. I'd go David De Gea before I go... Yeah, Ramsdale, then David De Gea. Cool. Could we all just leave a quick like on the stream? That would be much appreciated. Thank you. Should you have Liverpool defence? Yeah, I would. If you don't have Trent already, I'd try and find a way to get him in. He's been so good this season. And I still think with their fixtures coming up now that they'll continue to be good. So if you look at his returns, a couple of games he didn't play, but recently particularly, since he's come back, actually all season, he's been great. Clean sheets, attacking return. So Jaden, welcome. How are we doing? Jaden really should consider that premium membership tier where you get in the top tier membership group chat with all the others, and you can ask me that 5 times a day if you'd like, and I would tell you exactly when I'm making my transfers. I don't think I'm going to make any more than I have now. I think this will be where I go. Stian, no De Gea. His missus gave him a cuddle yesterday and now he's out for a week. The man is fragile. The tackle on midweek, it's like he's got to think about it, that if he's not being fouled by an opponent, he's just got to get up and get on with the game. It's unfortunate. It is unfortunate, but it's a goal and it has to be so. Sorry, I need to add Mbuemo to the bottom of that list. Morning all, how are we doing? We're going to start. I had him last week and didn't play, so did I, unfortunately, and I didn't get anyone good off my bench either. So I do think he's going to play this week. They've said that he's fit, so I got no reason to think that he won't. So you have 2 free transfers and 0.2 million in the bank. Should I downgrade Vardy to a cheap forward and get Son to Gilmore? Should you downgrade Vardy to a cheap forward and get in Son? No, I wouldn't do that, because after this week, I think Son scored last week, great, but he didn't look particularly great. Their fixtures are good for this week, but after that, Brighton, Leicester away, Liverpool at home. I don't think buying Son, I don't think using 2 free transfers to go Vardy out, Son in is a good move. Because next week you'll think, I wish I'd done it for Ronaldo. I wish I'd just done Vardy to Ronaldo or something like that. No, I wouldn't make that move. That Smith Rowe goal shows how incompetent Fred can be sometimes. It's just unfortunate. It's one of those things. Again, it just seemed to be Fred. Like, anything that seems to go wrong happens to be him involved. Now, I don't think he's to blame, but yeah. Gallagher to Saka or hold? I'd definitely hold. I wouldn't be buying. If I was buying an Arsenal mid, I'd buy Smith Rowe out of the 2 probably. Shadrucker. So that's probably what I would do. I wouldn't necessarily make it this week, although they have a much easier fixture against Everton. But if it was for free and you could do Gallagher to Smith Rowe, then I might do it. But why is everyone hyped about bringing in Ronaldo soon? Has he got good fixtures coming up? I don't know whether that's a joke, but the United fixtures from next week are incredible. So they start this week, to be fair, against Palace, but after that, they're even better as well. D Vice, thank you for subscribing. Bruno instead of Ronaldo next week. I think I want to see how they play this week, and I want to know, maybe it's Sancho, maybe it's Rashford that we go for. But at the moment, as a safe option, I just need to know that I have a route to the most expensive option out of them. I've got a route to all of them, right? Son to, Bruno if I wanted Bruno, and Wilson to King. Fine, that works. I have a route to all of them. If I want Ronaldo, then I do Son to Smith Rowe and Wilson to Ronaldo. Again, it works. What do I think about Foden for this week and future? I think he's a nice option. If you kept... I'm not sure I got my words out there. I don't know what the question was. Foden. Right. I think if you've kept Foden, good. If I hadn't bought Foden already, and it looks like he's playing out wide again, then I would probably still favour going for one of the cheaper options in either of Bernardo Silva or Gallagher. Sorry, Bernardo Silva or Gallagher. I'm losing my words now. Bernardo Silva or Gundogan as options instead of him. Save the money and put that money elsewhere. But if you've got Foden, then I wouldn't be selling him. I'd keep Foden if I had him already. Who's the best sub 4 million defender? I don't know if you can get Ben Johnson of West Ham, Brandon Williams of Norwich. There are not many great options. Patrick, thank you for subscribing. Rudiger or Pookie to start, please. I'd probably favour the attacker out of those 2. But it's away at Spurs. I'd probably go Rudiger out of the 2, to be honest. Patrick, thank you. Ashe Adur, again, welcome everyone. Hey Harry, in your opinion, who do I think is the best 1 week punt? Ooh, interesting. I mean, I know it's difficult, but you probably have to target the fixtures of either a Man City asset, a United asset, like someone like Sancho, if you can afford him, I think would be a nice 1 week punt. A Spurs asset, or United, Spurs, City, probably, or Newcastle. But it's only Wilson, but I probably wouldn't go for them. Rashford's ownership is 0.8%. Now that is differential. Absolutely. Let's see how they perform tomorrow. But definitely worth keeping an eye on. Best goalkeeper under 4.6. Under 4.6. I don't know who is that price. It has to be under. If you have 4.6, then I still think Sanchez is the best option. If you only have under that, like, am I really going to recommend buying Tim Krul? Look, man, how are we doing? Bench Benteke or Dennis? I'd probably bench Dennis out of the two. If you only have 4.5 for a goalkeeper, like it's Krul or it's Darlow. And Darlow's not even played the last two. It's been Dubravka. Backman? Like, just go Backman at 4.2. They're all rubbish at that price. I'd probably just go Backman. If you have 4.6, actually have it, then Sanchez is the one I would go for. Play Gallagher and Buemo. Check the who to start list on the other side. Start Livramento or Gallagher. Check the who to start list. That's too big. That looks weird. Let me see if I can change the... Why am I starting Gallagher? Because I quite like him as an option this week. That looks so horrible. Hang on. Let me fix that. That doesn't look much better. Anyway, start King or Dennis. I'd probably go for King. His underlying stats are still better. I do have an extra transfer. If I had to use it, I'd probably do Gallagher to someone. But I don't want to do that this week. So I want 2 transfers next week. Start one of King. Oh, we need the Watford guys in here as well, don't we? Where do I rank Watford attackers? Cool. In there. Lots of you have come in now. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, if you could like the stream, would be much appreciated. Thank you. Thoughts on bringing Rashford and Sancho this week? I just want to see them this weekend under a new system before I go buying any of these players. So I just want to see it first. Havertz to Mount. It's a bit sideways. Chance Havertz starts today. I think Mount has been really good, and I hope he continues to start. There's still that slight doubt with Ziyech. Could he play? I hope he doesn't, but it's very sideways. I'd probably go to Bernardo Silva or a Man City player before I went to one of the Chelsea options. We wish you good luck for this week. You're heading over to FPL Dare now. I do hope you get a green arrow. Thanks, Jaden. Good luck. Brandon Williams or Ben Johnson. If you have money for Ben Johnson, the issue is, right, Brandon Williams will play every week and get less points every week. But Ben Johnson has a chance of scoring more points but won't play every week. And there's a chance that... No, I think Ben Johnson will play today. But I probably would go Brandon Williams out of the two. If he's going to sit last on your bench anyway, just have someone that starts every week. You have Maddison. Should I bench him for White? No. No, absolutely not. Start Maddison if you've got him. Bench White for sure. Hi Harry, was getting Ronaldo and Ramsdale good for -4 for Vardy and Sarr? My issue is it good this week? I'm not sure because I don't know if we're going to get... I don't know if we're going to get a start out of Ronaldo this week, but I like the move. Sarr to Ramsdale, good move now that the Wolves' fixtures become much more difficult. And Ronaldo in is a good move going forward, but it's just this week. Makes it slightly more difficult because I don't know if Ronaldo's going to start this week. But good moves overall. Maybe Jaden, I'll think about it. I will think about it. Ramsdale or Krul in goal, Harry? I'd start Ramsdale for sure, easily. I'm not going near the Norwich defence unless I have 3.9 and I need a defender. Good luck, Shahin. Welcome. Nice to see you in. I hope you are well. Any questions, do let me know. Nice to see all the members joining in and supporting charity. We've had a fair few members join from the first video. So for anyone who's unaware, all money from memberships, all super chats during December go to the charity that I'm supporting this month. So if you do donate to charity, if you do donate to the stream or you join as a member, so super chats, all of that goes to charity during December. So you can join as a member for as little as $1.99 for the month. And that, of course, will go to charity along with all the ad revenue as well. Vardy to Jimenez and Rice to Bernardo Silva. I wouldn't be buying Jimenez. Look at the Wolves fixtures. They are so poor. They are so bad. I wouldn't go buying Jimenez this week. He's not the one that I'd be going for. I am. There are much better options in up front than going for Jimenez this week. Who I'd go with? I'd probably go Watkins before I went Jimenez. Stian, thank you very much for the super chat. Hope more people give to your charity. Thank you. Opinions on Vardy? Fine. The issue with Vardy is I'm not sure he starts this week, but selling him for Ronaldo this next week makes so much sense, and I don't have enough confidence on Ronaldo starting this week to do it. I want to see how they perform this week. I want to see how United line up this week before I make any decisions on who I'm going and buying. Buy any midfielder from the game other than Salah, Jota or Son. Bernardo Silva. Arish would probably be the one that I would go with. Arish, am I pronouncing that right? Probably not. Probably butchering it again, but let me know how I should be pronouncing it. Armstrong or Gallagher first sub. Is that Southampton Armstrong? Then I'd put Armstrong ahead of Gallagher. I'd rather have Armstrong in my team than Gallagher. Start one of Bowen, Gallagher, Dennis and Duffy. Gallagher out of those. Again, guys, please check the starting ranking on the other side. All of these questions are, I think, being answered in there. Chelsea defence is top of that. How you pronounce it is just fine. Cool. You're starting Vardy. Who should I put as first sub? Mbuemo or Antonio? Vardy don't start again. Have a look over there. Sell Livramento or Duffy? I'd probably sell Duffy. There's a chance that he doesn't get back in the team. Although there have been some injuries as well, I probably still would sell Duffy out of the two of them if I was making a defensive transfer. Alright, mate, just want to pop in and say you're a legend. Thank you very much. That's very kind, taking your morning out. I hope you are well. Good luck in game week 15. Starting this morning. Another game week, all coming thick and fast. Foden starts. I would probably say yes, but I don't know the answer. Pratic, unfortunately. I'm in the know, no source on Manchester City team news. Start Diaz or Tony. Already starting Cancelo. Diaz or Tony? Probably Diaz. Actually, no, Tony. Actually, yeah, Tony out of the two of them. Cornet out for Bernardo or Foden. Again, Manchester City rankings, we will be starting at the top with Bernardo Silva, then Gundogan if you don't have the money, or if you do have the money, Foden. It's just a lot of money to be spending on Foden now. Who would I start, Benteke or Antonio? Benteke for sure this week. We've got 18 minutes until the deadline. getting quite small now, my list, having to add more and more players. Jaden asks, not a question about FPL, but have I noticed how quiet De Bruyne has been this season? Yes, I have. It's been, yeah. He's not been good this season, and Manchester City fans are wanting the likes of Gundogan and Bernardo Silva to start over him if they aren't playing in a sort of a false nine role. So, yeah, I have noticed it. I have noticed it. Would I be your first sub, Antonio or Livramento? Please check the list on the other side. St. Maximin or Livramento? If you've got St. Maximin, you are starting him this week. Absolutely. Is the list on the screen for who to start in order of preference? Yes, in my order of preference. So at the top, I would start Tony ahead of all the people below. Benteke, I'd start ahead of all the people below. That is my list. Who to captain, Salah or Son? I cannot advise captaining against Salah when he has returned 50 more points than anyone else in the game this season. Yeah, Salah again for me. Mendy or Sanchez in goal? If you've got both, I'd still start Mendy out of the two. If you're owning a premium keeper, you've got to play them every week. There's no point having Mendy in your team if you're going to rotate. If you're going to rotate the two, so need to use your transfer this week. Would I do King to Vardy and Brownhill to Sancho? I do quite like that, but I would want to see more from United next week. Can you not just use one transfer, Eddie, this week on something else, and then do potentially those moves next week when King has a good fixture next week? Just because I want to see United before I go advising on which of their assets to own. Transfer Antonio, Brownhill to Bernardo and Davies. 2 transfers to do that is not, I don't love it, but I do really like a Man City midfield option for the upcoming fixtures. So if you've got 2 free transfers, I would do it for that. I wouldn't do it for a hit. Dyer on the bench or Gallagher? I'd probably bench Dyer first. Who should I buy? Alonso or Lamptey? You already have James and Sanchez. So the thing with Alonso or Lamptey, I really like Lamptey. If you've already got James, I'd probably go Lamptey out of the two. Brighton's defence is still not bad, and Lamptey has looked so good. He's almost playing right wing when he plays. I think he's a really nice, cheap option. My only concern with him is that he doesn't play every minute over Christmas, but when you've got a game a week, I really like Lamptey as an option. If you've already got James and Sanchez, I would probably go Lamptey out of the two if you've already got James in there. Sanchez is fine. He's a goalkeeper. You can always move him, but I would go Lamptey over Alonso probably. Who would I start? Gallagher or Højbjerg? Ooh, probably Gallagher. Probably Gallagher out of the two of those. -4. Would I take a -4 to get in Trent this week or wait and do it for free next week? I don't know who you're selling, but I don't think there's any defence that I would want. Yeah, I'd probably wait and do it for free next week, Johnny. It's close, but I would probably wait and do it for free next week. Next week, transfer to Ronaldo or Bruno. Yeah, so Manchester United is an interesting one. At the moment, my plan is to go Ronaldo, and I can quite easily do it. So Wilson's good fixtures that I wanted him for come to an end, and he's hardly been good as well. So Wilson can go, and if Son goes, this would be 2 free transfers. And like Ronaldo would come in. He's not a 4.8 goalkeeper. He is a very expensive forward. Ronaldo would come in, and it leaves me 6.6, so I can go Ronaldo and Bowen. So people, saying, "Oh, Harry, you sold Antonio." Yes, I did, but it was partly because I knew that I could do this next week if I want Ronaldo. So that's a very real possibility for me next week. Bring Bowen in, play him against Burnley. Leaves me 0.2 in the bank as well, so no worries. You're 10.7 for a forward. Who would I go for? I'd find the extra money and go Ronaldo next week, Arash? Can you not use your one transfer this week to not sell Vardy, who I presume it is, sell someone else so that you've got enough money to do Vardy to Ronaldo next week? But this is my plan for next week, which would be Bowen and Ronaldo in for Son and Wilson when their fixtures aren't looking as nice. That's the plan anyway. Let's refresh that so it doesn't confirm anything that I don't want it to. You've got Silva, Tomiyasu, Rudiger, Dean in defence and Alonso on the bench. Shall I keep that format? Silva, Tomiyasu, Rudiger. I wouldn't start Luca Dean over Alonso. No, I would start Alonso over Dean. I didn't realise anyone. Yeah, I would be selling Luca Dean, but I would be benching him before I bench Alonso. Good morning, Khaled. Thank you and welcome. Start Livramento or Fraser or Rudiger. If I had Fraser, I'd potentially start him, but I'd go Rudiger out of those three. How much can December change my fortunes? You've had 2 terrible months. I'm hoping it is a good month for us all. Absolutely. Let me know in the comments, guys, what is your current overall rank? Put in the comment section, what is your current overall rank this season? Who to start? Gallagher and Mbuemo. There's a list over there. Reguilon over Gallagher. I'd start Reguilon if you have him, absolutely, this week. At home to Norwich, yes. Start Vardy and Tony or Ronaldo and Antonio. I imagine that's transfers that you're thinking of doing. I would, this week, Vardy and Tony. This week, but next week, potentially not. 120k, 146k. Thoughts on doing Jimenez to Jesus? I quite like that. I'm all aboard the Ollie Watkins bandwagon, so anyone who wants to join me on it, feel free. So that's where I'm going if I was selling Watkins, selling Antonio. $227k, 68k, 52k, 175, 31. Some very good ranks in here. Please can you guide Bernardo Silva or James? You already have Cancelo and Rudiger. If you're bringing in one, I'd bring in Bernardo Silva and then do Rudiger to James. I'd bring in Bernardo Silva and then do Rudiger to James if I had to. Would I do Alonso to Reguilon if I had 2 free transfers to burn? He looked so poor the other night as a Chelsea fan. It pains me. I probably wouldn't do that, but I don't know where else you could use your transfer. Yes, Harry, how are you? Who to start out of Antonio, Armstrong, Livramento? I'd probably put Armstrong top. Son. Captain. Again, I can't advise to be captaining against Salah this week. I just can't do it. I cannot advise captaining against him. Is Foden going to start? I still probably would say yes, but it's a little bit of doubt in my mind. You're doing Son to Bowen and Jimenez to Ronaldo for free next week. Like it a lot. A lot of people are like on Jimenez looking for replacements. So do you go King because they have a bad fixture this week? Do you go Ronaldo because again you don't know? So yeah, I like those moves next week for sure. Do I expect Chelsea to concede? Don't know whether to play both Alonso and James. I don't know who else you've got in your team. Am I confident enough to play both? Maybe not, but they're both very attacking as well. So you've got to think about the attacking threat that they offer on top of their clean sheets as well. So I probably would play both. I don't know who you've got in the rest of your team that you could bench them for, but if I had Alonso and James, you've kind of got to play them every week, I think. It's Norwich at home though. I know it's Norwich at home, but like I haven't seen nearly enough from Spurs or Son to think that captaining him is a good idea. Salah away at Wolves. Salah has been so good that Salah is just the one that I would, even though he's playing a more difficult team, my armband would be on Salah. Gallagher out for Saka. I wouldn't do that necessarily this week. If I was going for a United option, it would still be Smith Rowe. Wait, just checked in your overall points. It's 897. I thought it was lower than that for some reason. I think I'm on 926. Mings versus Leicester or Bowen versus Chelsea. I don't like either of them. Maybe Mings, but Vardy and Leicester have looked good recently. Maybe Bowen then, actually. I favour the attacker. What do I think about Mbuemo and Vardy to Son and King? The thing is, from next week, you might be going Son for 1 week. I'd rather go Sancho, I think, than Son now. If I was buying someone, I'd buy Sancho this week before I bought Son. Would I bench Antonio White or Gallagher? Check the list on the other right. Buy Wilson or Watkins? I'd buy Watkins now. Again, if you're buying Son or you're buying Wilson, I feel like it's a few weeks too late. There are other options that I feel like you're chasing points a little bit with those two. There are other options that I would much prefer to buy now. I'd probably buy Sancho before I buy Son. I'd probably buy Watkins before I bought Wilson now. Start Smith Rowe or Gallagher. Smith Rowe playing against an Everton side that cannot defend at all. Best Villa defender, either Target or Cash. And Vardy to Jesus and send it. Vardy to Jesus, I don't mind. Again, I don't love Jesus as an option with Mahrez playing well. I'd probably go... Come join me on the Ollie Watkins bandwagon. If he gets something this week, great. Leicester have not been good. Liverpool away next week, fine. Then we've got him for Norwich, Burnley, Leeds, Brentford, United, Everton, Leeds, Newcastle, Watford, Brighton, Southampton. Start Antonio or Alonso? I'd probably start Alonso just because he has attacking threat as well. I'd probably go Alonso. Ramsdale or Sanchez? Ramsdale. Rafinha to Gundogan or Jota? I would wait a week on that and then probably go... If you already have a Man City option, go for him. If not, no, actually I'd go Jota. Jota's looks so good. Right, we are going to wrap up our deadline stream. It is a few minutes before the deadline. Start Alonso or, yeah, I'd probably go Alonso because he has attacking threat as well. Thank you all for joining. Of course, please do like and subscribe before you go. Every new subscriber is, of course, 10p to charity. Every membership, if you decide to join as a member, as a low tier, just to support the channel, you get a nice group of emojis. If you decide to join at the higher tier, you get a group chat with myself and all the other higher tier members in to chat about our teams constantly throughout the week. It's been a lot of fun so far, so do consider joining that. Myself is in it. I answer questions about your team, my team, the whole lot. But of course, all the money raised from memberships, super chats, donations, videos, the whole lot goes to charity this month. So if you have enjoyed, please do like and subscribe. Turn on notifications for the videos coming soon. Good luck in Game Week 15, everyone, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks all. Bye.